Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to solve the Leetcode problem 1. Uh, let's get into the problem without any further ado. What does the problem say? It's a The problem statement is very simple. You are given an array which is called nums here, and you are given an integer target. So you are given a target. For example, if you take this example, you're given this is the array you're given, and you are given a target. So what you have to do is you have to return the indices of the two. Okay, let's try to understand this problem first. It's a very simple problem. So we are given a target value of 9. So we have to pick our any uh, two numbers. Okay, it's clearly written over here. Return indices of two numbers such that they add up to the target. Okay, so out of uh, this array, we have to pick any two number which sums up to this target. We'll try to understand this with the whiteboard. We are given nums array. If you see 2, 7, 11, 15, and at the same time we are given a target 9. Let's try to build up the intuition first, because that's very important to understand what the problem asks you for. And uh, the basic intuition is we we always have multiple approaches toward any problem, so we can always go ahead with any sort of approach we would like. But in this video, I would be starting with the brute force approach, and then we would move to the Hashmap approach, which is more optimized version, and which would give the time complexity as O of n. So let's start with the brute force approach. We are given an array. This is the array 2, 7, 11, 15. We are given a target of 9. Okay, so let's start with the brute force approach. Brute force approach. What possibly could be the brute force approach? It's a it's very simple. We try to iterate through the problem. Okay. We iterate through the array. We hold on to one element first. Okay. So basically we are initializing a pointer I, and then we, in the second iteration, we would again iterate through this array, and we initialize this second pointer as a j+1. तो पहली बार में हम क्या करेंगे कि अरे का पहला एलिमेंट में जाएंगे, और उससे आगे जितने एलिमेंट्स हैं उस पहले एलिमेंट में सम अप कर देंगे, इसको जोड़ने की कोशिश करेंगे, और जोड़ के अगर हमारा टारगेट रिजल्ट आ जाता है तो वी विल return the indices. It's very simple. Okay, it's very simple. Try to understand this. I hope the recording is going on. Okay, so it's very simple. We have initialized I over here, and we have initialized j plus, sorry, it's I'm really sorry, what did I, it's j. So basically the approach is very simple. uh, I would rather say initialize to pointer I is equal to 0, j is equal to I plus. So I को हमने 0 से स्टार्ट किया, इंडेक्स 0 से स्टार्ट किया. If you write the index over here, you will get 1, 0, 1, 3. So I'll try to write the simple code over here. How do we exactly iterate? The problem with this approach is it's a brute force approach, so obviously you would be expecting the time complexity to be uh, uh, because we are using we obviously we would be using two for statement, so the time complexity is going out to be O power big O of n square. How? We'll try to understand this. I'll first try and write the pseudocode of this problem first. It's a let me use this. If you see, we have initialized uh, mm, I. If, and we would iterate through the entire length of the array, and it would be given as it's if the array is num, so it should be nums dot length. We start with another loop, int j is equal to I plus 1. We have to understand this. This is the only trick. J should be smaller than, of course, nums dot length. We increment the j. We have initialized with the I as 0 right now, and we have initialized j with I plus 1. So I हमारा यहाँ पे रहेगा, j यहाँ पे रहेगा. हमेशा j I से एक स्टेप आगे रहेगा. उसके बाद हम मेन लॉजिक यहाँ लिखेंगे. यहाँ पे हम चेक करेंगे if nums of j, sorry, हमारा टारगेट यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी हमारे पास टारगेट दिया हुआ है. अगर इन nums of j plus nums of I is equal to the target, then we simply return the indices. I'd say really sorry for this issue. I don't know, my thing is not working, I guess. We would simply return a new int with its index. Otherwise, we would return null. Excuse me. So it's very we try to understand this first. Brute force. It's really gonna be very easy. पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं. I is equal to 0 है. J is equal to I plus 1, that is 1. ठीक है. I 0 1. Actually यहाँ पर coincidentally our the two very first values of the array sums up to the target. So we go over here. Int is equal to 0, and when j is 1, we check if the nums of j. What is nums of j? Nums of j is 7, and nums of I is 2. If it is equal to the target, we actually return I which is 0, j which is. If we take the different example, for example, this 3 to 4 target is 6. I'd rather take a different term. No, it's okay. If we take another example over here, array being given as 3 to 4, 3 to 4, target is 6. Okay, we start over here. I is equal to 0, j is equal to 1. I यहाँ से स्टार्ट किया, j यहाँ पे स्टार्ट किया. If I check टारगेट यहाँ पे 6 है, नम्स ऑफ j 1 है, नम्स ऑफ I यहाँ पर 0 है. सॉरी, टारगेट यहाँ पे 6 दिया हुआ है. If you start with I0 j is equal to 1, of course the logic what we written over here is j is I plus 1. So nums of j, I0 j1, nums of j of, if the j is equal to 1, nums of j is gonna be 2. I would rather use a red marker over here. It's gonna be more better. Okay, so I0 j1, nums of j, nums of 1. If you see nums of 1, it's gonna be, nums of 1 is gonna be 2. Nums of I is gonna be, nums of I is gonna be 0. Nums of I is gonna be 3 plus 2 is not equal to 6. So what we basically do is if it is equal to the target, we simply return it. लेकिन अगर target के बराबर नहीं होगा तो we will get out of this loop and increase the value of j. Okay, so right now our I is 0, j has become 2. We see over here 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. That's why we didn't return the indices. We go to the I0. I0 is 3 plus I of j2. Indices of j2 is 4. 7. It's not equal to the target. That's why we don't return it. We again, and eventually we are, j is array out of bound, so we go to this loop now and we increment, basically the value of the I is incremented over to 1, and when the I is incremented over to 1, j is, obviously we have initialized with I plus 1, so j becomes automatically 2. We see what is nums of I1, that is okay, nums of j, what is nums of j? 4. What is nums of 1? Is 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Yeah, it's equal. So we basically returned it. This thing is returned. So this is a brute force approach and it's every time we use for iteration, if we iterate for the first loop, it's gonna take, if you have n elements, then it's gonna take O n, and then inside for every single element you are iterating to the left of the for every single element you're iterating again the entire loop. That's why the time complexity over here comes out to be O big of n squared, which is not optimized. Which is not optimized. Okay, so what is gonna be the best optimized way? In this video tutorial, I would I'd rather do, I try to solve this problem using Hashmap. So if you know how the Hashmap works, it's gonna be very easy for you to understand this problem, because mm, what you actually do in the Hashmap is rather call it hash table. You store, if you're giving a nums is equal to, take it as 2 7 11 7 11 15. It's indices being 0 1 2 3. What you exactly do in hash table is you store the key value pair. I don't know, it's why the hell it is problem. हैश टेबल में आप क्या करते हो कि की वैल्यू पेयर रखते हो, की वैल्यू पेयर रखते हो, ठीक है. हाउ डू वी एक्चुअली डू इज, we for the first time we iterate through the array. So the key is going to be 2 7 11 and 15, the elements of the array, elements of array, and the value is going to be the indices of array. So हम क्या करेंगे, पहली बार इटरेट करेंगे array से और सारे एलिमेंट्स के अगेंस्ट की एंड वैल्यू पेयर में स्टोर कर देंगे. So how do we actually store it? If you just see it, it's gonna be like obviously we are going auxiliary space is gonna be used over here, so it's kind of like how is my hash table gonna look after we store all the key and value pairs. Hmm. If you know how the hash table or hash map works, you would be knowing that an auxiliary space is used to store all those all those key and value pairs. Sorry, for example, we go to this index. Okay, so uh, there is a key and value pair. If you try to map it out, you can understand this. Okay, we are simply gonna, what is key? Key is 2, values 0. I'll I'll explain the code very shortly and try to map everything, the concept and the code simply right now. Just try to understand the intuition behind the problem, because how the hash table works. If you don't know how the hash table works, I would highly recommend you to go and check the hash table content concept first, because that is the prerequisite to understand the solution. Because we are not dealing with the brute force approach right now, because brute force approach is already, I've already discussed it, and the time complexity is not that good. So what we are using right now is a hash table, the concept of hash table. So the prerequisite being we have you have you should have a knowledge about the hash table in hand. So in the first iteration we store our first key, which is the first element. So this is gonna be key, this is gonna be value. Okay, if I have to be there, if I'll quickly write the key value there. So what we are trying to do in this problem is we for the first time we have iterated the entire array. It is gonna take the time complexity of big of on n, and we have stored the entire key value pair into our hash table. So this is what we call as hash table. This is a simple representation of hash table. Okay, so the first step is done. Second step is the lookup. How does a hash table, how do we actually look up in the hash table? Is if you know, that's why I told you the prerequisite for this video being uh, you should have a concept of the hash table first, because and for the lookup, hash table takes o of n. So lookup time for hash table is constant. So we would be using a modulo function, if you have any idea about that. So I assume that you should have that sort of idea, because there, when you start searching the hash table with a certain uh, uh, key, there it takes the simple modulo operation and tries to map it back and gives the result in a very constant time. That's why it makes the solution very optimized. Uh, so first step being store every element as key value pair. Second step, look up the hash table for complement. तो सेकंड स्टेप में हम लोग किसी भी I'll first try to code this problem first. Uh, then we would again come back to our whiteboard and right, understand the concept. It's uh, it's simple. First, we try to store all the elements of the array into the hash table. So it's a you should know how do we actually initialize a hash table. For that, if I will quickly write map of integer, map of integer, map is equal to new hash, new hash. Initializing hash table. Map integer of integer map is equal to new hash map. This line of code is gonna initialize a hash table without any element. So obviously it's empty right now. Sorry, I'm using a new keyboard, so it's kind of like difficult for me to type over here. हमने क्या किया कि हैश टेबल को इनिशियलाइज कर लिया, और we try to iterate over every single element. So int I is equal to 0, int I is equal to 0, and I is smaller than g, smaller than length. Okay, so what we do over here is we initialize a complement. It's a new variable we initialize. What we actually do over here is we initialize a complement. Obviously, we are given a target over here. So for any target, we declare a complement, and the complement is gonna be target minus nums of I. declaring new variables from complement. Of course, it's going to be a comment. I try to write comment before every line of code because that's how you, if you're a very beginner in programming and coding, obviously data structure algorithm, so the comments are very useful and seriously gonna help you. Int complement target minus I. What do we do now? We try to search, we search. Let me just try to put it in front of you because we search the entire map. For example, we search visit, okay, so what have we done till now? अब तक हमने क्या किया? मैंने क्या किया? जस्ट ए रिकैप. एक हैश मैप बनाया, उसमें भी कुछ भी एलिमेंट नहीं था. मैंने क्या किया? फर्स्ट इटरेशन में मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि सारे एलिमेंट्स वन बाय वन करके विजिट कर रहा हूँ और उसको वैल्यू की एंड वैल्यू पेयर में स्टोर करते चले जा रहा हूँ. Okay. रियली सॉरी, यहाँ पे मैंने स्टोर किया ही नहीं. और int I is equal to 0. I is equal to of length. I plus plus. I'm really sorry, I did a grievous mistake. This entire thing is there to store initializing our hash table. and storing the key. Yes, I'd rather delete this thing because obviously when you initialize it, it's gonna be. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि फॉर आई जीरो फॉर लूप से इटरेट कर रहा हूँ फर्स्ट इटरेशन में, और जो सारी मैट डॉट पुट दिस फंक्शन इज देयर टू स्टोर द वैल्यूज द की इन वैल्यू पेयर. सो it's a simple function to which basically takes the first element and its corresponding index and put it as a key value pair. So this nums of I is going to be key and the index is going to be the value, as I've already explained you over here. So the key is going to be an element of the array and the value is going to be the index of the array. तो यहाँ तक क्या हुआ, हमारे कोड ने क्या किया कि एक हैश टेबल बनाया, उसमें फर्स्ट टाइम इटरेट करके ये सारे की वैल्यू पेयर्स को स्टोर कर दिया. So by this line of the code, we have this hash table ready. Okay, so in the next iteration, what we do is for every single element in the hash table, uh, we have declared a new variable. If you see over here, complement. So what we do is target value is already given over है, हमारे पास टारगेट रहेगा कुछ, और कॉम्प्लीमेंट मैंने क्या किया कि टारगेट से वो जो करंट मेरा एलिमेंट है टारगेट से उसको माइनस करूंगा, और जो उसकी वैल्यू रहेगी कॉम्प्लीमेंट की, जो उसको वैल्यू आएगी उसको अपन न्यू वेरिएबल कॉम्प्लीमेंट में सेव कर लेंगे. उसके बाद क्या करेंगे कि यहाँ पे वी सर्च द एलिमेंट इफ इट कंटेन्स द कॉम्प्लीमेंट एक्सेप्ट इटसेल्फ. सो बेसिकली दिस इज द लुकअप स्टेप. दिस इज द लुकअप स्टेप. यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं कि मैंने क्या किया कि सेकेंड इटरेशन में एलिमेंट बाई एलिमेंट मैं एरे को इटरेट करने की कोशिश किया, इटरेट करना बेसिकली स्टार्ट किया, और उसके बाद मैप में देखा कि वो जो कॉम्प्लीमेंट की वैल्यू है क्या वो अवेलेबल है मैप में. दिस फंक्शन इज मैप डॉट कंटेन्स कॉम्प्लीमेंट. what does it return? It basically look up the entire hash table or hash map and see if the value complement is there in the hash table or not. And of course it should not be equal to itself, because in the question it's clearly written over here, you may not use the same element twice. So since every single indices should be unique, we have to use this condition map.get complement should not be equal to I itself. अगर हमारा ये कंडीशन ट्रू होता है, इफ दिस कंडीशन इज ट्रू, वी सिंपली रिटर्न न्यू इंट. एक न्यू इंट बना के मैं क्या करूँगा कि उन दोनों उस करंट एलिमेंट की वैल्यू उस करंट एलिमेंट के इंडेक्स रिटर्न कर दूंगा, और जो मैप में हैश मैप में मुझे उस कॉम्प्लीमेंट के करस्पॉन्डिंग जो इंडेक्स मिला है उसको रिटर्न कर दूंगा. विल ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड इट, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ओके, तो हमने क्या किया यहाँ तक हमने क्या किया कि हैश मैप को सर्च कर लिया पूरा. भाई मुझे वैल्यू मान के चलो मिल गया. अगर मिल गया तो मैं तो इस रिटर्न फंक्शन से, रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट से उस करंट एलिमेंट की वैल्यू और जो कंप्लीमेंट है टारगेट माइनस नम्स ऑफ आई उसका इंडेक्स रिटर्न कर दूंगा. अगर नहीं, जस्ट इन अ केस if not found if not found, really sorry, this is my new keyboard and I seriously can't type. If not found, we return null. We try to run this code and see if it runs. I'm really sorry somebody started calling. I don't know. If you submit it, you'll get the total time to run the solution. Look, I have successfully submitted the solution. The runtime is 3 ms, and we try to debug it. How do we exactly get to this process? It complement is equal to target of. So what we exactly did over there is target minus at this point. At this point, what were we doing? This is the second iteration. Okay, in the second iteration we are going to the every single element of the array, and for example we are there in on the index number 0. अगर हम इंडेक्स नंबर 0 पर हूँ, मान के चलो यहाँ पर हूँ, तो मैं क्या करूंगा कि कॉम्प्लीमेंट डिफाइन कर लूंगा. कॉम्प्लीमेंट इज गोना बी टारगेट माइनस नम्स ऑफ आई. इफ यू सी व्हाट इज द वैल्यू, टारगेट इज फॉर एग्जांपल, टारगेट हमारा यहाँ पे क्या था? वेयर इज द टारगेट? I guess it's the target is 9. Okay, the target was 9 minus nums of I. What is nums of I? 2. तो कॉम्प्लीमेंट 7 आ जाएगा. ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट 7 है. व्हाट डू वी डू नेक्स्ट? इंट कॉम्प्लीमेंट. अगर ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट, दिस कॉम्प्लीमेंट अगर मैप में है 7, मैप में है, प्रेजेंट है, इसका इंडेक्स 1 है. अगर प्रेजेंट नहीं होता तब तो हम नल रिटर्न कर देते. इवेंचुअली इस केस में, इस एग्जांपल में हमको कोइंसिडेंटली इंडेक्स 0 पे ही हमारा टारगेट मिल गया. इस वजह से हम यहाँ पे रिटर्न कर गए. सो द कॉम्प्लीमेंट जब लुकअप कर रहे होंगे, जब हम लुकअप कर रहे होंगे, वाइल लुकअप, हमको मैप में, and while lookup hash map is going to take it's a constant time, that is O of 1. So at that time it's simply gonna return the index. So यहाँ पर I map.get is get complement. This function is used to return the value. What do we have over here? Value is the index of the array, so it's gonna return I. So this sentence return in, I'll write it over here. Return I map dot get complement. So in this case, the I was 0, map dot complement 7 था, तो इंडेक्स यहाँ पर 7 के करस्पॉन्डिंग 1 रिटर्न हो जाएगा. I hope you understood everything in this problem. I will simply write the time complexity. Time complexity is gonna be first iteration में of n plus lookup time में of 1. So it's going out to be O of n only. स्पेस कम्प्लेक्सिटी की बात करें तो एक ऑक्सिलरी एक्सपेस यूज होता है. ऑक्सिलरी स्पेस ऑफ O of